Dollar. Dirt on money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yo, what's good, original crew, man? We're back with most disturbing police sketches and photos. So I know this is either going to be funny and we're going to get some weird police sketches, or it's going to be cringy and disturbing. What you think?
Probably disturbing. But I wonder why a sketch and photos would be disturbing. I know the title said disturbing, yeah. But I was like, maybe like disturbing, funny, or like weird.
Or be able to point out somebody for real.
Yeah, like something like that. Maybe that's why.
I don't know, man. So with that being said, before we get into it today, make sure you check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to first support. All you have to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
knock it in with a thumbs up.
And we'll highly appreciate it. But let's hop into it, y'all. Let's check it out. Let's see what's about. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get into it. Let's see what it's about, y'all.
The Lake Bodom murders are one of the most infamous unsolved homicide cases in the history of Finland. Lake Bodom is located in the town of Espoo, near the southern tip of the country. On June 4th, 1960, a group of 4 teenagers rode around the edge of the lake on their motorcycles, heading toward a small patch of woods where they planned to set up a tent and spend the weekend camping. Driving the motorcycles were Nils Gustafsson and Seppo Boisman, 2 18-year-old boys who had been best friends for years. Both of them had their girlfriends hanging onto them on the back of their mopeds, making for a total of 4 of them. Riding behind Seppo was 15-year-old Tuulikki Maki, who had introduced her own best friend Irmeli Jorglund to Nils just a few weeks after she started dating Seppo. And now, just a few weeks after the two couples had become official, they were off to welcome the summer with the couple's camping trip. As they stopped in town to pick up some beer and food, the teenagers got a...
I still feel like that's so weird to hear a 15-year-old is out camping and spending the night with a...
What year? I can't
1960 something.
Oh yeah.
But
even
though it's still like your 50-year-old daughter, like just imagine that's younger than your niece, right? 50-year-old, she gonna go spend the night with spend a weekend with some boys. Think your brother gonna tolerate that?
Well, she younger. I mean, she older. But,
yes, I'm saying she older, but I'm saying if she was that age.
I mean, no, but
when she was that age, because she ain't that far.
No. But I always just try to I don't know how things were, cause I'm just saying.
It's still.
But yeah, no. To answer your question, no.
A few suspicious looks from the locals, who thought it was strange to plan a camping trip near Lake Bodom, which was mostly used for fishing and swimming, but not so much for camping. Regardless, the teenagers soon reached the campsite, and after pitching their tent, they enjoyed a carefree evening of drinking, swimming, and fishing. A little after 2 a.m., the boys crawled back into a single tent with the girls and went to sleep. The following morning, the joy of the teenage dream from the previous night had been replaced by a scene straight out of a horror movie. The tent had collapsed on itself, and the bloody bodies of the 4 teenagers appeared to be wrapped up inside the tent, with 3 of them losing their lives to several stab wounds and blunt force trauma to the head. The only survivor was Nils Gustafsson, who had been seriously injured, but somehow managed to stay alive enough time to be rescued. At around 6 a.m., a group of birdwatchers spotted the collapsed tent and caught a glimpse of a blonde man walking away from the scene. Chalking it up to a wild party the previous night, they thought nothing of it and failed to call the police. At around 11 a.m. though, a man named Esko Johansson went down to the lake to swim with his young son when he spotted the collapsed tent in a clearing. When he went over to investigate, he found the 4 teens wrapped up in the shredded tent. By the looks of it, someone on the outside had cut the guy ropes, sliced through the tent, and viciously attacked the kids in their sleeps with a knife and possibly some type of bludgeon. Interestingly, all the kids' wallets, moped keys, and even some of their clothes had been taken by the attacker. As he took in the gruesome scene, Esko suddenly saw Nils take a sharp breath and move ever so slightly. As soon as he realized the boy was alive, Esko sped back into town with his son to alert the police. Upon arriving at the campsite, the cops immediately took Nils back to the hospital to recover. Although he had suffered from serious brain injuries, Nils recalled the face of a blonde man dressed in black and red staring down at him through a hole in the tent before the attack. From his description, police were able to make a sketch of the suspect, which has since become infamous for its disturbing nature and the man's cold, lifeless stare. Other fishermen and bystanders also reported seeing the mysterious blonde man walking in the woods in the early hours of the morning of June 5th, but the only details police really knew about him were that he was probably in his 20s and around 5'8". You would normally hope that a police investigation would help shed more light on cases like this, but that's not really the way things happened in the Lake Bodom murders. As soon as the Finnish police began investigating, they made a series of rookie mistakes that made it even more difficult to solve an already confusing case, starting with the fact that they failed to put police tape around the crime scene, leading to the tampering of potential key evidence. The only relevant clues they managed to gather were Nils Gustafsson's shoes that were less than a mile away from the murder scene. Shockingly, after setting up dozens of road checkpoints in the woods, the cops ended up arresting a total of 88 criminals on Finland's most wanted list, but none of them was the Lake Bodom murderer. As the investigation progressed, the cops narrowed down the list of suspects to 2. The main suspect was a man named Vala Jolstrom. Jolstrom had a history of violence towards campers, and it wasn't unusual for him to throw rocks at people who tried to set up their tents in the woods, and even put razor blades in their apples for them to swallow. Even though he confessed to the murders to his neighbor while he was drunk, his wife provided a dodgy alibi for him, which the cops ended up believing for some reason. Some sources claimed that on her deathbed, Jolstrom's wife took back her statement and confessed that she lied about the alibi, but this was never officially confirmed. Still, even if Vala Jolstrom was guilty, it would have been impossible to prove, as he took his own life in 1969 by drowning himself in a lake. The second main suspect in the case was Hans Asman, a German immigrant who had moved to Finland in the early 1950s and was 36 when the murders took place. According to police records, Asman had gone to a nearby surgical hospital the day after the crime with dirt under his fingernails and red stains on his clothes. Although he was allegedly a camp guard at a German concentration camp and was later linked to the murders of other teenagers in Finland, Hans had a rock-solid alibi for the evening of June 5th and was never arrested. With the 2 men cleared, the police only really had one lead left. During the victim's funeral,
we didn't know about that part. We didn't know about. So we have heard about this case. We had a whole debate about who could possibly be. We had sus on him at one point.
I didn't, but
I'm talking about him.
On him. I still the sketch looked like him.
Yeah, the sketch does look a lot like him.
But I can't remember what the alibi was.
And I also had a sus on Nils. Reason why some of the details that we heard about prior to hearing about this that he didn't cover is the reason why I had some sus.
And it does depend on who tells the story and how they tell the story and what you take from it.
On what they
how they deliver it.
Not how they deliver, but what details they decide to put out there and what details they don't.
But yeah.
But I don't know. That's the reason why I kind of sus Nils, because it like hearing the other details that unfortunately he's leaving out kind of would lead you to sus Nils a little bit, but also his wounds wasn't like everybody else's wounds. So, hey, I don't know. But also the details we didn't get was the guy that was a suspect. We didn't know he had killed other kids.
Yeah, I didn't.
We didn't know that part.
I don't. If he did mention that,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember that either. So
my thing is, if he is, and then the other guy, we just said that, and then some type of way, the woman, the neighbor, end up having some type of relationship at one point, or am I reaching on that one? I can't remember. It's been like a couple months ago we heard this story, so I can't. I might be mixing up some stuff, but that one with the room with the supposed confession to and then him drowning. We kind of said that doesn't sound. I don't think he had it. I don't think the husband had anything to do with it. With me myself, I don't know about her, but me myself, I don't think the husband had anything to do with it. Do you?
No, I didn't really suspect the husband. Even if she did lie and then confess that she lied, that's not confessing that her husband did something.
True.
A photograph of the crowd was taken, and the cops found something pretty disturbing. The image in question shows a mysterious man bearing a striking resemblance to the official composite sketch of the killer. However, after searching nearby areas for months, police were unable to find the man, and his identity remains a mystery to this day. In the absence of any more solid leads, the case went cold until 2004 when the Finnish police re-examined the evidence with more modern forensic techniques. Exactly 44 years after the murders, in a strange turn of events, they charged the lone survivor, then 62-year-old Nils Gustafsson, with the gruesome crimes committed at Lake Bodom. Up until he was accused, Nils had been living a quiet life as a bus driver and a married father of 2, and the evidence used to build the case against him was flimsy to say the least. The prosecution alleged that he had murdered his girlfriend and 2 friends out of jealousy, an accusation that the victim's family supported throughout the trial. In the end, though, it was ruled that, given the severity of his injuries, it would have been impossible for Nils to murder his friends and then drop his shoes off about a mile from the campsite. In 2005, Nils was acquitted of all charges and was awarded the equivalent of $60,000 for damages caused to his image by the media. The identity of the murderer is still a mystery, and to this day, the spot where the 3 teens were brutally murdered is still used as a camping ground.
That one is very mysterious because unfortunately, no one will ever have answers to what actually happened to those 3 kids.
Yeah.
One piece of evidence that made me like with Nils is because of the flirtatious nature that Seppo was having with his girl. Mm-hmm. So it could, like, some of the stuff that supposedly they had got into an argument, possibly a tussle. Nils and Seppo also made it look like it's a possibility that Nils could have, out of outrage, also with the evidence of the blood with the shoes. Why is the shoes away from the crime scene? If the person that killed them would have his shoes on, like, there was no, like, evidence of that somebody else had his shoes on, not even blood. So it made it seem as though Nils possibly placed the shoes there, but he could have, and just covered it up that good. So ain't no telling. But that's a very mysterious case that if you're one of those who like to dive into mysteries and try to see if you can solve it, try to look at, you know what I'm saying? I think that would be a good one to really deep dive into.
Yeah, I was always stumped on this one, especially when they had, like, the one suspect, but he had an alibi. Mm-hmm. And he kind of resembled just a tad bit with the eyes.
Not just a tad bit.
Then you got the
even
person
the forehead.
But then you have the person that's in the crowd, whoever this person is, that looks just like the sketch. And so it's kind of like, and no one knows who. I don't know. So I was always stumped on this when I first heard it.
Yeah, facts.
On January 14, 1989, a Chicago-based television station called WMAQ did its usual nightly sign-off with footage of the raising of the flag and the Star-Spangled Banner playing in the background. As soon as the national anthem finished playing, the screen cut to a mysterious missing person poster featuring a woman named Joanna Lopez. Disturbingly, the image was accompanied by complete silence. For some reason, the poster was aired all night by WMAQ until it was interrupted by the morning news. Back then, it wasn't very common for news stations to simply broadcast images of missing persons, but when they did, they followed a very specific structure and format to give viewers as much information as possible for them to have a fighting chance of finding the victims. Details like their age, height, gender, race, last known location, and hair color were always listed next to the image of the victim, which was always of the highest quality possible. In Joanna Lopez's case, however, none of those crucial details were included, and all we can really gather from the poster with the extremely grainy and eerie image is her name. 2 years later, in 1991, the same poster was shown on WMAQ, but this time there were a few key differences. Although the name and phone number were the same as in 1989, the image appeared to have been cleaned up, which made it easier to see Joanna was wearing sunglasses. Strangely, in the 1991 broadcast, the image was only shown for about 10 seconds before cutting to a screen filled with colored bars. I was able to find that the number listed below the poster corresponded to the Youth Division office of the Chicago Police Department. After digging even deeper, I found that many of the missing person announcements made by the Chicago Police Department back then were pretty similar in appearance, with a diagonal banner intersecting the image, as well as a phone number and last known location below the picture. However, again, for some reason in Joanna Lopez's poster, you can only see a phone number, making it even more difficult to locate her. What's most disturbing about the incident is that Joanna Lopez can't be found on any databases for missing people or any other kind of national directory. Her name doesn't come up anywhere, no matter how far you look back. The lack of information on the alleged victim has led many people to believe that Joanna is either dead, she never went missing, or that she never even existed at all. One theory that has gained massive traction on Reddit is that Joanna's face could have been artificially constructed or somehow digitally modified as part of a prank played by someone at the studio.
What?
I understand we deal with digital modified stuff and AI. Not back then, though.
And that's someone that works at the station. I would hope you wouldn't.
I doubt, and that's the problem with the mindset of now is not the same mindset of back then. Also, everybody didn't have the technology that we have now back then. So a lot of people wasn't well equipped or even computer knowledge back then wasn't even like that. You know what I'm saying? Most people didn't. No. But
I do wonder
AI modified in the early 91.
I do wonder what happened though, because even if she was found or rather alive or deceased or whatever the case may be,
records probably just
it
not.
still should have been updated if y'all had put it out there at some point.
Only thing I'll say
why
is
they can't find anything now.
Records and databases wasn't stored in computers back then too. A lot of stuff transitioned over the years. So hey, a lot of files unfortunately did go missing at one point. You know what I'm saying? As they transitioned. Or maybe she was found deceased or alive, but they decided to, you know what I'm saying? You never know. Also, they didn't have much information to roll with. They didn't have a clear enough picture to even roll with her.
Or by a hacker who somehow managed to get into WMAQ's system. With about 8,500 people going missing each year in Chicago between 1989 and 1991, it's also possible that Joanna Lopez was simply another victim of the widespread violence in Chicago in the early 90s. And that the youth division used the terrible quality image as a last resort to see if they could get someone to recognize her. Despite the traction that the case gained online, there wasn't a lot of new or relevant information surfacing on Joanna Lopez. In 2022, however, a couple Reddit users claimed to have contacted the WMAQ station. When they asked about the mysterious broadcast, they were told that the records showed that the information had been submitted anonymously by a source who claimed they would call back later and never did. Other requests for information to the FBI and the Chicago PD came back with no matches, making it possible that Joanna Lopez never really existed. To this day, the Joanna Lopez subreddit remains active with all kinds of updates, but so far nothing conclusive has surfaced. The mysterious nature of the case leaves all kinds of questions unanswered. Could her name have been an alias? Did she ever even exist? If so...
Or, also possibly, could have been a John Doe, right? That they were trying to see if anybody knew her. Maybe they found the identification or something. This could have been a photo that was in a wallet or something, and just trying to see if they could be able to get in contact with next of kin. They saw that her name was Joanna Lopez. So they placed her missing. We don't know exactly when she went missing, but we know she was a minor. Could have been a minor. This could have been a photo that was in her wallet or on her person, and they just don't know how to get in touch with whoever possibly know her. So they're trying to, you know what I'm saying?
You said if
she could have been like a Jane Doe, but they actually know her name, but they don't know how to get in contact with the next of kin. So they just put out a missing to see if somebody called and be like, "Hey, I know who this is. We haven't seen her as such and such," and that could have been that type of situation. Do you think that they might? I don't know, because it's early 90s or late 80s, early 90s. Computers and technology really wasn't as what we think of it now, especially back then.
Yeah.
Still cassette tapes back then. Still VHS tapes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just, again, I don't know how, they would have went about a situation like that.
Yeah.
back,
I'll say we could call people and be like, hey, do you think this? And they'll say, yeah, they probably would have did that. If I ran that scenario across a couple of people, they probably would have done something like that, try to see if they can get in contact. Mm-hmm. Or somebody can contact them, because it does look like whoever this is, they're not grown. They're not an adult.
Yeah, that's why he keeps saying like
so they're a minor, and they low-key look like a minor.
Yeah. So my only thing, I'm like, I hope this wasn't like
I doubt this was like a.
But I'm also wondering, like,
they really like most of the things. If you get a prank, it was a prank phone call or stuff like that back then.
Yeah, but if
not hacking the whole.
No, I'm not talking about that. But I'm like, if it is like a child or something, which it does look like a child. I'm trying to figure out, like, is there any other information, or no one came forward and be like, hey, my child is missing. My child name is Joanna. Like, that's the only thing I'm like, or, hey, my friend has not showed up to school. Or I haven't seen my friend around the neighborhood, or I haven't talked to
you know
like,
how things be.
I know.
Like you told me this morning, how does an 8-month-old come up missing when you got both of the parents? And that what you was talking to me about?
Yeah, I just said how 8 months, and then they showed the parents and the I don't know if he was a friend or a granddad, but another man too. But anyway, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Some just don't make sense.
Yeah, I just 8 months is like.
I'm just saying, like.
But yeah,
the world's full of crazies.
Most definitely.
What really happened to Joanna Lopez? We'll likely never know. On May 3rd, 2007, 3-year-old Madeleine McCann was on vacation with her parents Kate and Jerry and her 2 younger siblings at the Ocean Club in Praia de Luz, Portugal. In the evening, her parents went to dinner with a group of friends at a restaurant in the complex about 100 yards from the holiday apartment they were staying in. Because of their young age, Madeleine and her 2 younger siblings stayed back in the apartment. Before leaving for dinner at around 8:30 p.m., Kate and Jerry left the door to the apartment slightly open.
This one doesn't make sense either. We heard this story as well too. It doesn't make sense to leave your kids the way that. I don't care even if we are on vacation and we're at this. It's still, It's a lot of. I don't know.
Throughout the night, the McCanns and their friends took turns checking on each other's children, and when Jerry went to check on Madeleine and her siblings at around 9 p.m., he noticed the door was in a slightly different position than he left it half an hour earlier. 15 minutes later, Jane Tanner, one of the other parents in the group, went to check on her kids and noticed something suspicious. As she walked past the McCann's apartment, she saw a man with long hair, bushy eyebrows, and a mustache carrying a child and walking down the hallway. She didn't think much of it at the time, which she later came to regret. At around 10 p.m., just 45 minutes after Jane came back to the table, Kate McCann went back to the apartment and noticed the door was now completely open. Fearing the worst, she...
We didn't hear that part. That detail wasn't told.
And that's what I always say. Like, I'm going to have to start finding reports myself, like, from the actual...
Because every time we listen to
something... police reports and read them myself, because every time I hear this story, I feel like something is added or taken out.
Any story. If we hear one story on one
but definitely person... this one, because this one really never, like...
made any sense.
Yeah, but...
How you see a grown man carrying a child? You don't glance at the child? You don't look at the child to see what the child look like?
She stepped into the room, and that's when she started living every parent's worst nightmare. Madeleine was missing, the windows were open, and the shutters were up. In a panic, Kate went back to alert her husband, her friends, and the staff at the club complex. Unfortunately, nobody could find Madeleine, and the next morning, an official police investigation was launched. For an entire year, the situation went from bad to worse for the McCanns, as Kate and Jerry were later formally labeled as prime suspects in the disappearance of their daughter and blamed for the entire incident in a Portuguese newspaper. However, the accusations were later dropped as Jane Tanner made her statement about the suspicious man she had seen carrying a little girl close to the McCann's apartment around the time of the disappearance. Jane's description of the man matched the statement given by Gail Cooper, another tourist who had reported seeing a similar suspicious man walking around the complex in the days leading up to the disappearance. When asked about the man, Gail said, "He made my blood run cold and gave me the creeps. He seemed really strange. He said he was collecting money for an orphanage in nearby Espionage that was caring for 3 children whose parents had recently been killed in an accident on the Main Coast Road. The man was rambling and becoming agitated. I thought he was a con man trying to pull a fast one." It was later confirmed that the orphanage he mentioned does not exist, and there was no evidence of the fatal car crash he mentioned. The description of the suspicious man was later confirmed by another 12-year-old girl who had seen him multiple times in the days leading up to May 3rd. And based on the testimony of these 3 different people, police released this official disturbing sketch. For the next 4.5 years,
this man looked like he... Let's be real, see. This look like a face of a man that's trying to help with some... Look at the teeth. You just gotta call a spade, bro. From the sketch, he even looks dirty. Like that, how the hair flows and just... He looking at me like that.
Cause you stupid.
I'm just saying he doesn't...
But no.
If I see this man carrying a child, I'm a nice kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm a side eye him a little bit.
Yeah.
Cause he don't even look like he got kids.
When she seen him carrying like a child or whatever, did she see him from the back? Because obviously she couldn't tell who the child was. Or
he had a cover over it.
Because I guess he was walking one direction, but she can see that he was holding a child, and she was going to check on hers. I don't know if she ever seen him.
But unless he had a cover,
I guess
over
it was
the child.
just
because she was asleep.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm asking you a question. Did he say like the direction that she seen him in?
No.
Police released this official disturbing sketch. For the next 4.5 years, the man in the sketch became the prime suspect in Madeleine's disappearance, but the international manhunt that ensued resulted in nothing but a series of false anonymous tips and cold leads. In 2012, it was revealed that the man Jane Tanner had seen had simply been an innocent dad carrying his daughter down the hallway, and he was in no way connected to the suspicious con man who had tried to collect money from Gail Cooper.
Wow.
In 2013, a new digital render of another man who was allegedly seen walking near the club complex in 2007 was released.
That low-key look like him, though, a little bit.
And he didn't look anything like the previous suspect. Although the case continued to receive funding, the investigation went cold for the next several years, during which Kate and Jerry McCann continued to suffer and miss their daughter. In 2019, an 8-part Netflix series was released about Madeleine's disappearance, and less than a year after that, police announced they now believe the man responsible for the crime was a man named Christian Bruckner. Christian Bruckner owned a suspicious Volkswagen camper van that was found near the club complex where Madeleine disappeared. After being seen driving the van in the area on the night of May 3rd, Christian allegedly confessed his involvement in the crime to a man at a bar. Shortly after the disappearance, Christian and the other man were sitting in a German bar when a news report about Madeleine's disappearance came on TV. That's when Christian allegedly said something to suggest he was responsible for her disappearance. Even though he later denied his involvement in the disappearance to the authorities, police are still investigating him to this day, and it's possible they'll soon make a break in the case. Hopefully they'll find the man responsible and bring him to justice to at least bring some sense of closure to Madeleine's family after a traumatic 16 years.
Wow.
You think they're going to ever get an answer?
Honestly, with cases like this, and it's been so long, you never know, but I'm really hoping. I really hope that they can get some type of closure as to what happened.
So mine is 85% know that y'all will never find out. 15% is a possibility. Only reason why I seen a cold case get solved. I mean a cold case that I was like, bro, I don't think we gonna ever figure out with the Holly Bobo.
Yeah.
I ain't think we were gonna ever find out what happened to Holly Bobo. Finding out. Or even the girl that got the one from Arkansas, but was in the Caribbean islands. Yeah. Finding out what's his name, Vanderloof, Jans Vander, whatever his name is.
I just always have hope that either.
But it's like a small percentage of chance that it actually.
Yeah, it's a small percentage, but that small percentage I just kind of, hang on to, because sometimes other detectives may come in and get a hold of it that may be like more, and they really like go. Not saying the other ones are not doing their due diligence and making sure, but you just may have someone with some fresh eyes, fresh ears, just everything, and can really see, other things that maybe someone else missed. Yeah. So I'm just hoping that they can get some closure.
On May 31st, 2001, 22-year-old Charlotte Murray Pace had just graduated from Louisiana State University and was looking forward to moving to Atlanta to start a new life. Sadly, she was never able to launch her new career, for that very same day, a man broke into her home and stabbed her with a screwdriver 81 times, taking her life. In the years leading up to Charlotte's murder, Baton Rouge, Louisiana had become a hotspot for similar crimes, with several women losing their lives to a single violent criminal with a very similar pattern of attacks. According to police reports, the perpetrator would often watch these women for weeks or even months, becoming familiar with their routines and habits, looking for the perfect moment to strike. In many cases, he pretended to be a kind stranger asking for help. When the victims obliged, he would turn violent and do the same things he did to Charlotte. After Charlotte Pace's murder, a woman named Diane Alexander reported to the cops that an African-American man had attempted to strangle her in her home on July 9, 2002. According to her statement, the suspect came to her home asking to use the phone, and when she opened the door, he brutally attacked her. Thankfully, the woman's son came home and scared the perpetrator off before he could take her life. Based on the description that Diane and her son provided, the cops were able to have a better understanding of the perpetrator's physical appearance. But after the cops extracted physical evidence from several of the crime scenes, the FBI reported that the killer was actually a white male between the ages of 25 and 35. Based on the evidence and several witnesses' descriptions, police came up with this horrifying sketch.
What?
However,
that look like a black man and a white man put together.
It really does.
The lips look like a white man, offense.
He looks.
But the nose look like a black man. Then the eye sockets looks like a black man, but the facial structure look like a white man. And then the haircut, that's black or white. He don't even look mixed. He just look.
Again, this is a sketch.
Yeah, it's just a sketch,
black
but
and white sketch. So you really can't get much. But I mean, I will understand why she probably thought it was a black man. But the evidence is that's weird. Like who?
No, she said she was attacked by a black man.
I said I will understand why she would think that she was attacked by a black man. Cause he looks like he looked weird.
No, Pete, it could be two different men. She might not was attacked by the same man that killed the other.
Okay, well I don't know. I was just saying from the evidence. If it
we don't know skin complexion. See, so.
Well, I'm saying nothing, child. Just come on.
I ain't gonna lie, this is an ugly.
If this is the person that attacked the older lady that tried to strangle her, I'm saying I understand.
But we don't know.
We don't know
skin complexion though. Cause what if he just light skinned? I doubt
he still would be black.
He'll be black. So what DNA is the FBI pulling to say it's a white Caucasian man?
Right. That's.
The suspect being identified as a white man ended up being a mistake by the FBI, one that gave the killer enough time to take the lives of two other women while the authorities were searching for someone who didn't even look anything like.
Stop talking to me.
So the FBI got it wrong.
Please stop talking to me.
No,
I'm not saying nothing else.
No, you are. I don't know where we ain't connecting on what we're saying.
And you're not allowing me to connect. I said if the evidence that they collected is from a white man, I will understand why she think that it's a black man because this looks like a black. This is the sketch.
This is the sketch she gave. So she saw a black man, not that she would think it's a black man. She saw a black man.
That's just a figure. I'm not.
You're not. That's not a figurative of speech.
That's not how you say.
I will understand if she. That's not. No. That's you're not saying the right way. What kind of? I would see why she say it was a black. No. If this is who she saw.
But I'm saying you got up here and said, well, it do like a white man and black man can live.
I said, but I'm saying I'm saying whoever the sketch artist might be a sucky sketch artist. There has been sucky sketch artists.
It's just a sketch, so we can't really tell. But I mean, Nothing.
But if she saw a black man and the DNA pulled off as a white man,
that's why.
That's two different
where y'all
individuals.
get this DNA from? Right. I got what you were saying. I never disagree with you. You just don't be trying to hear me out. But let's go. It ain't that important.
Girl, stop.
For enough time to take the lives of 2 other women while the authorities were searching for someone who didn't even look anything like him. It wasn't until forensic evidence from 2 more crime scenes was analyzed that a Florida lab confirmed to the police that the killer was an African American man, not a white man. While these killings were taking place in Baton Rouge, there were more guns sold in Louisiana to terrified women who wanted to arm themselves than ever before. Fortunately, it didn't take long for the authorities to collect a DNA sample from their prime suspect, a man named Derek Todd Lee, who had been previously arrested in the years of the murders for domestic abuse and stalking.
If this is him, that sketch don't look like him. Or does it? Does this sketch look like him? 1642.
It actually does. Again,
the lips ain't right.
Man,
the eye socket and the hair does in the nose.
That sketch kind of look like him. Yeah, dude. It's a black and white sketch. You ain't gonna get too much, so y'all need to.
The sketch artist ain't good though.
He working.
I seen better sketches though.
I've seen way better sketches. Yeah, I have, but I mean, this is the thing you have to understand as well. When like I'm being attacked, I'm only gonna give you so like I'm fighting for my life. I'm gonna try to remember as much just in case I survive.
I see what you mean.
But
I see what you mean, though.
I can only, especially if you don't have a photographic memory, I can only do so much, and you can only work with what I'm giving you. So, I mean, I don't know.
Named Derek Todd Lee, who had been previously arrested in the years of the murders for domestic abuse and stalking. He had also been investigated for murder, but the cops couldn't legally arrest him because of a technicality. When his DNA was tested against forensic evidence at the crime scenes, it was a match for 5 of the victims of the brutal murders in Baton Rouge.
Wow.
When police went to Lee's home to arrest him for the murders, he was long gone. Fortunately, it didn't take long for authorities to find him in Atlanta and arrest him near a college on May 27, 2003. In October 2004, Derek Todd Lee was found guilty and sentenced to death for the murders of 2 women. Later, his involvement in the murders of 6 others was also confirmed.
What?
Derek Todd Lee never reached his execution day, as he died of heart disease in 2016 at the age of 47.
Wow.
Often referred to as the Ghost of Baton Rouge or the Baton Rouge serial killer, Derek Todd Lee is remembered as one of America's most evil serial killers to this day, and as a man who was given one of the most disturbing police sketches in history.
That sketch though do scare me though. It just
and y'all said a white man.
I do wonder why they thought that it was a white man. Like after they collected like evidence and DNA, I guess.
Yeah. But
then I guess other things were like checked, the DNA and stuff, and it actually came back to him.
Yeah. That's weird though.
Weird, but
weird and sus, man. I don't like that.
But I'm glad that
it just sucks because if y'all was actually looking for him,
then the other 2,
it's a high chance of we don't know the chance of possibility, but it is a probability that y'all possibly would have been able to catch him before he committed the other crimes. But y'all said it ain't a black man we looking for, it's a white man. And it sounds like y'all was going more off analysis instead of going off of actual DNA. Because who fits the profile? Not criminal minds. Who fits this profile? All his victims are more lighter complexion or white women. Mm-hmm. That's a black brother, bro. Because typically you don't see that like. I ain't gonna hold you. Typically, from what I've seen, now it could be a little off, you know what I'm saying? But typically, when there's a white serial killer or something like that, they typically target white. They profile is very much so similar. All women gonna look alike, or men. Well, nah, Jeffrey. Damn, I just contradicted myself. Jeffrey had a huge. I don't know what Jeffrey like besides, you know. Mm-hmm. He ain't care about race, age, skin complexion, none of that. As long as you in the house of fun. He was like, you know.
But he still had a thing, was mostly male. And then, like, you do.
His was women, but like, I'm saying
like.
like.
I'm talking about him. I'm talking about Jeffrey.
Yeah, I'm talking about, but I'm saying with him, his was all women, but like, they were black, light skinned,
his was
or
all
white.
over the place. I'm talking about, you said.
Yeah. I'm saying like Ted Bundy. Reason why I'm saying you can't go off of the MO like that because I'm saying like Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy typically went after just college age or college looking white women.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They all have like something. It may not be all they all look alike, but they all may be around the same age, or all male, or all female, or all brunettes, or blonde, or whatever the case may be. It's like something. But honey, I don't put nothing past no serious. I don't care. I don't care if I don't fit his MO. I'm still trying to like.
Yeah.
I don't even care.
Yeah,
maybe one of them days where he like.
I'm gonna try something
whatever.
Different.
And. Yeah, that's sad, and I like that's like a scary time to like know that there's a serial killer on the loose, and I still have to live my life day to day, but looking over my shoulder every minute, especially somebody like him, because he really didn't have an MO. Yeah. Like all the women look different, so
only thing I say that they didn't look different by was like maybe the hair and the skin complexion a little bit, because even if they were black, they were still light skinned, and then even if they were white, they was white curly hair, but more like tanner. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know, but hey man, y'all spam us up in the comments, man. Let us know y'all thoughts and opinions about it in the comment section down below. But until next time, man, y'all know how it go. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra the host.
We are. We are.
No time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me.